Alrighty. Welcome back to another episode of New Music Friday. However, it's gonna look a little different today, in case you're new. First of all, welcome to the channel. Secondly, normally on New Music Friday, I listen to the song and then give my immediate reaction and first thoughts. However, so much music was released in these last 2 weeks, it simply won't work. So unfortunately, there won't be any of this today. I mean, just in these last 2 weeks alone, we got Alan Jackson's feature film-length album, Blake Shelton put out an album, but of course, the most important release of 2021, Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. All jokes aside, I don't think it was that bad. A few too many breakup songs, and by a few too many, I mean every single song on this record. But, oh well, Cyrus has a review up on his channel if you're interested. If you're really interested in my thoughts, you'll have to stay tuned for the new episode of our brand new podcast, which, by the way, you can now listen to on Spotify and Apple, as well as really anywhere you listen to podcasts. I'm just assuming most of you are Spotify or Apple. One last thing before we get into this video. We still haven't officially named the podcast. We're leaning towards Waves on the Shore. Jaren suggested it, and a lot of you guys seem to like it. So if you have any modifications to that name you want to suggest, leave them in the comments. Otherwise, I think we're going to settle for Waves on the Shore. Oh, and we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. I don't want to be the guy begging for subs, but if you're new and enjoy what you see, maybe consider subscribing. It would be incredible. Okay, now for the actual content you came for. I actually already recorded this episode, but during the editing process, I was like, nah, I need to redo this because A, for whatever reason, I got off topic and rambled a lot in that video, and B, I only got through like 2/3 of the songs I wanted to, and the video was already like 30 minutes, but I want to make sure I cover everything. However, I also don't want to edit a 55-minute video. So today's New Music Friday, I'm just giving my thoughts on all the music. I'm going to give myself a minute or so to talk about each track because I don't want to get off topic like the original recording. And yeah, timestamps are in the description as well as on the time bar of the video, so if there's specific songs you want to skip ahead to, feel free to do so. And without further ado, the first song I want to talk about is the first pre-release from Cody Johnson's upcoming double album, Sad Songs and Waltzes, featuring Willie Nelson.
It's a good thing that I'm not.
This technically isn't a new song, it's a Willie Nelson song, originally released in 1973, I believe, but man, Cody just knocked it out of the park. I love this version so much because it's so pretty. Cody's classical guitar sounds great, sonically reminds me a lot of his cover of Reba McEntire's song, Whoever's in New England. But then as the song progresses, there's a super light build as we get some percussion, some fluttering harmonica, and overall it's just very cleanly produced. Vocally, I think it's really well done from both parties. Cody has one of my favorite voices in country music right now, and the way he starts so soft and reserved before soaring over the chorus is so pleasing to hear. But Willie surprised me. He sounded surprisingly controlled. Obviously, Willie is a free floater, and at times he wandered off beat, which I thought sort of interrupted the skippy rhythm the song had going, but it's Willie Nelson on a Willie Nelson song. Dude's like 104, he can do whatever he wants. Overall, fantastic cover, really well done, super pumped for Cody's upcoming music. Next up is another cover, it's one from Hardy titled Blurry. After a bit of research, I found out this was a cover too. This was originally a song by the band Puddle of Mudd, who I have never heard of. Regardless, that definitely made me feel a little better, because upon first listen, I was really disappointed by the songwriting, because Hardy is such a phenomenal songwriter. I've grown to expect top-notch penmanship, so I was disappointed, but now knowing it's a cover, it makes a little more sense. But regardless, I can't say I'm a huge fan of this. I think Hardy gets to show his range, but his voice also feels awkwardly smooth, like he artificially or intentionally pulled back on the rasp in his voice, almost like he's trying to recreate that nasally scream voice that you hear in a lot of heavy rock. Obviously, rock and roll is not my cup of tea, nor am I very knowledgeable on the genre, so I don't have too much to say. Maybe you'll like this cover, but it just wasn't for me. Then we had a new one from Miranda Lambert, They've Closed Down the Honky Tonks.
Yo, they've closed down the honky tonks.
Obviously, Miranda just released the Marfa tapes of Jack Ingram and John Randall, but then she turns around like 2 weeks later and drops this new one, They've Closed Down the Honky Tonks. Sonically, it feels like a bonus cut from the Marfa tapes. It's another very lo-fi acoustic song that sounds like it was recorded on a phone. I'm not complaining at all though. I think Miranda sounds great in this almost Zach Bryan-esque environment. So sonically, other than the fact it was another great vocal performance, there isn't much to say, but lyrically, I really like this one. I love all the Texas imagery she adds in. There's no cold Lone Star Night, no broken spoke, no more Billy Bobs, no more Gillies bull riding or boots in Green Hall. It's a very simple song about the pandemic and how everything had to shut down, but I find it really charming and well done. Obviously, as a not very proud citizen of Ontario, I can relate to these quarantine tracks because up here, we're still in lockdown.
We need to maintain the stay-at-home order and all public health measures until at least June the 2nd. We've made some extremely hard choices in order to protect the hospitals. We've all made great sacrifices to stop the rampant spread of COVID-19 variants. So we must stay vigilant. We must keep doing what we're doing and what's working. We need to do everything in our power to protect this summer for all Ontarians. My goal is to have the most normal July and August possible.
We finally have a reopening plan, but it's a slow burner. Honestly, I can't be bothered to get into it. I've given my 2 cents on it already. I'm just a little ticked off now that we're almost at summer and I've been in lockdown for all but 3 weeks this year. Moving on though, Old Dominion put out a new track, I Was on a Boat That Day. I'm just gonna open with saying I freaking love this track. It's such a dumb sing-along song, but it's done in such an appealing way. It's not some soft pop rock or snap tracks, it's this fun folky energy with several acoustics. I think I hear a mandolin buried in the transitions, as well as the accordion, an instrument that seems to be slowly coming back more and more. Back in 2019, we got it from Midland. Earlier this year, we heard it from Tristan Merez, now Old Dominion. Either way, this song's pulled off to a T. It's a perfectly executed dumb song. I mean, the song opens with, I remember it like it was yesterday, 'cause it was. And then the rest of the song is just singing about how this girl left Matthew, the lead singer, but Matthew's asking around like, was she laughing or she crying? Because he was already long gone. He was on a boat that day. I think the reason this whole idea works is because of the production. It feels very drunken. The harmonies aren't tight Old Dominion harmonies as much as they are groups of guys clumsily singing along. This song just radiates good vibes in such a clever way. I love the lead singer Matthew's intentionally awkward or slurred delivery at times. Everything about this track is just fun. Old Dominion singles always seem to do really well on radio because they're radio friendly, but man, out of all their singles, I hope this one does well. I gotta start speeding up these reviews if this video is gonna be any shorter, but next up is a new one from Colter and Summer Dean titled You're Lucky She's Lonely. I am unfamiliar with Summer Dean, but I think we're all familiar with Saskatchewan native Colter Wall. Sonically, it's what you would expect from a Colter Wall song, a western swinger with some upright bass, floaty steel and worn down acoustics. Lyrically though, I love the rhyming patterns, especially in the first verse. You're lucky she's lonely, you're lucky she's blue. I'd place your bet on the heartbroken brunette with the Wallen tattoo. It talks about her being a maiden of misery, and you don't need a white horse or chivalry. You're lucky she's lovesick and nipping along. There's no cure but time for a past love unkind and a busted up home. The song itself is just Colter and Summer saying to this guy in a bar, you're lucky she's lonely because she'll be easy to pick up. She's desperate for love, so now's a good chance to find your way into her heart. It's just an idea I haven't heard before, and that's always really refreshing to hear. Vocally, I think the two of them played off each other really well, had some beautiful harmonies in the chorus, and overall, big thumbs up from me. Next up is Maddie Tae's new single, Mood Ring.
Yeah, you're sweet as honey.
Maddie Tae are interesting in the sense that they always seem to have hype behind them. I thought their debut album was good, not bad, but nothing crazy. They did have Die From a Broken Heart, which, like everyone, I thought was remarkable. Also Water in His Wine Glass, but other than those two tracks, I've really never got that invested in the duo. This new track sort of leaves me with the same feelings, though. It's by no means bad, it just didn't stand out to me that much. It's the heavy, sassy country they're becoming known for, but personally, I'm always gonna like their softer moments because it really lets their beautiful harmonies take center stage. The song is just saying how this guy is just all over the place emotionally. He's a mood ring, always having mood swings. The bridge cracked me up when she says she wished she kept her receipt so she could get her money back on him. But other than that, this song is just there for me. Maybe I'm missing something, but I'm still just not fully sold on Maddie Tae. Parker McCollum put out a new one called Drinkin'.
Sorry, baby, I've been drinking.
This song really disappointed me. I like Parker, and I thought his Probably Wrong album in 2017 was incredible. But ever since, other than Halle Ray Light, Hold Me Back, and maybe Young Man Blues, I haven't been impressed with his output, and this new one, Drinking, might be the most disappointing of them all. It gets going really quickly, but just never progresses. Instrumentally, it's really uneventful, and that's how I would describe this song on the whole. Lyrically, it bores me. It's just Parker missing this girl, asking her to come back because he's tired of drinking alone. I don't know. I honestly don't have many thoughts on this one because it's just so bland and middle of the road. I loved his older stuff for the piano and steel and fun stories with funky melodies, but ever since he's come to Nashville, it really seems like they stripped him of everything that made him special and just turned him into another muscular young man singing country rock songs about alcohol and girls. Like I said, Halle Ray Light showed the old Parker at least I love, but other than that, I don't know what's going on there. All I know is this song sucked. Dustin Lynch and Chris Laine released a new track, Tequila on a Boat.
2-piece on a towel in the back.
I really don't got much to say about this one. I don't know what I was expecting from a collab between these two alpha males. Sonically, it's not terrible. There were some trap elements I don't care for, but we also got this cool banjo electric guitar fusion thing in the bridge I thought was cool. But lyrically, this song is so unbelievably droning, it's terrible. It's just Chris and Dustin admiring the women and alcohol on a boat. Couldn't care less for it. Laine Hardy also put out a new one, Memorize You.
I wanna know your heart by heart and your kiss by kiss. Wanna know.
Laine Hardy is someone I've had my eye on ever since his song Tiny Town, a song that I loved for A, his voice, but B, how his voice worked with the folky production he went for. But ever since Tiny Town, Laine has gone for more mass appeal with poppy or blander country music, and this new one is not really an exception. Memorize You is lyrically Chris Laine's I Don't Know About You's long lost brother. It's the same song. It's a standard pop rock country song. I think it sounded fine. The fusion of genres wasn't annoying. Laine's voice still sounded great. It was just a little too heard it before, especially lyrically. Holy crap, this is a lot of songs. Next up is Flatland Cavalry's new one, Some Things Never Change. I thought this is a really strong showing instrumentally for the group. Flatland always has such a rich quality to their sound, and that is still very much the case on this track. I love the rhythm, how we get a little stutter all over the track. That little ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba. It opens the door for the fiddle to have a more intricate role. Everything strips back on cue for Cleto's voice. If I'm being dead honest, I thought there were a few parts where Cleto's voice wobbled a little too much. His voice is naturally very delicate, and it's one of the distinct aspects of his vocals. I just found he almost slipped off the note too early at times, but that's a minor criticism. Overall, really liking this one and cannot wait for the full album. Swiftly moving into the next track, we've got a new one from fellow Canuck, Tenille Arts, Back Then, Right Now.
Where'd the good old days go?
I think the idea behind this song is quite clever. The catch of the chorus is she could use a little back then right now, and while I do think there are a few clever lines in here like brown bag bottle and a burnt CD, it all went by in a flash of a Kodak, I still just find this song a little vanilla. Talking about the whole world being a small town, flying down back roads, it all just ends up feeling bland. Sonically, I think it's solid. It's nothing new for Tenille. She's always steered more in the direction of brighter pop country, similar to someone like Kelsey Ballerini. It's not as memorable as I think it could have been, especially when you hear her other songs like Somebody Like That, one of the catchiest songs in recent memory. That one always seems to be stuck in my head. I don't know, I think this song's good. Not great. I think it had more potential than it realized in the final recording, but I'm always going to support a fellow Canadian when I can. Lastly, I want to talk about two acoustic unreleased songs we received in these last few weeks, the first one being Joe by Luke Combs.
I got a job and my name's Joe.
This song really stood out to me because it's a little outside of Luke's norm. I don't want to say comfort zone because that's for him to decide, but this is a different kind of drinking song and it's super intriguing. Rather than hearing Luke sing about fun drinking songs, it was fascinating to hear him sing from the perspective of this recovering alcoholic named Joe. Alcohol is something that I think can be glorified a little too much, especially in country music. So to hear someone like Luke Combs come out and sing a song from the other side is not only cool, but I think it's important we hear songs from the other perspective. That, and I just love the perspective of the song. I love how we get a definitive character. Rather than Luke just singing from a perspective we would assume to be himself, he's telling Joe's story, and I think that little touch just takes this song about getting your life back on track and takes it from solid to phenomenal. And it's such a minor thing. I don't know, I just really enjoyed it, and I'm intrigued to hear what a studio version of this song will sound like, not only because it doesn't sound like a typical Luke Combs song, but after The Great Divide and him hinting at a bluegrass album, I'm wondering what this would sound like should it go on his third official mainstream record, which I would assume it will. And the other one I want to talk about is Thought You Should Know by Morgan Wallen.
I thought you should know that all those prayers you thought you wasted on me.
Keeping the trend of well-written songs, for so many reasons I love this one. Over the last few weeks, Morgan has slowly been getting back into social media and being a little more active, and then I logged into Instagram and saw his post of this song and couldn't help but have my heart melt a little. I don't mean that in like a 15-year-old fangirl way, but in the way that this song felt so genuine. Like everyone, my image of Morgan was shattered a little that night in February, but this song felt so vulnerable and honest, I couldn't help but love it. The way Morgan paints himself in this song is very relatable, and it takes him off this pedestal of a megastar and shows the side of him that's just like us, somebody's son just trying to navigate life. Rather than a monster or a celebrity, Morgan appears like just another one of us making music, and I think this song is a perfect comeback for Morgan, not in the sense that he's going to release it as a single to radio next week, that obviously won't happen, but in the sense that this is the perfect way for Morgan to slowly integrate himself back in. It's Morgan leaving a message over the phone for his mom saying how he hasn't been home in a while and he's been chasing women and making bad decisions, but he's slowly improving. Those prayers she prayed weren't wasted on him, they're beginning to show through, and the line that I find the most touching and really emphasizes how Morgan is just another guy that happened to get famous is when he says, "Can you believe I'm on the radio?" It's just got such a juvenile, almost innocent tone to it. And then I like how at the end of the song, he ends the phone call saying the bus has got to roll, just thought you should know. It'll take a while for Morgan to integrate himself back into the mainstream media world, but I thought this was a phenomenal step in the right direction, and a very mature and honest song that really felt like it came from his heart, and I wanted to talk about. Alright, so that's it for this episode of New Music Friday. There was a lot to talk about, although if I'm being honest, I like this format. I'll probably go back to the reactions on a slower week, or I may adopt this format permanently. Who knows? Let me know in the comments what you thought. As always, links to my Instagram, Discord, and podcast are all down below in the description. Like the video if you enjoyed. If you're new, I'd encourage you to subscribe for more country music content. We are so close to 1,000. I cannot freaking wait for that milestone. So get on board if you aren't already. And yeah, until next time, have a great day.